Reach for the sky, boy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM from the unceded Musqueam Territory at the University of beautiful British Columbia. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenhammer.
And happy Lunar New Year, everybody. It's the year of the rabbit. If only somebody had told FC Edmonton that. They went too soon. They could have exploited this.
Oh, Michael. Yeah, that is, yeah. It's so disappointing.
It is. We will have our extra podcast out. We've got another extra podcast that's just come out on the whole US national team drama. And I've got a nice wavelength song to tie in with that at the end of the show as well. So yeah, our next one will be on that FC Edmonton situation. We've got a fun show for you this evening, and after last week where there wasn't much Whitecaps talk, it's all pretty much Whitecaps in this show. I've got a couple of sit-down interviews I had with draft pick Jean-Claude Ngando and last year's draft pick Simon Becher, who has his MLS deal now. We'll hear a lot from Vanni Sartini as he chats about the time in Spain and some of the other issues and rumours around the team just now, and we'll delve into all of that as well. First off, though, I want to start off with a couple of just sad things I just wanted to make mention of. And it kind of feels that the last month all we've done is pay tribute to people that have passed away. Terry Hall is our Artist of the Month. He passed away just before Christmas, and we spoke about Pele and Gianluca Vialli. And I just want to touch on two people that sadly passed away in accidents this past week. One is football related, one is wrestling related. Sadly, we couldn't get Steve. He's had some computer issues. I know he was really wanting to talk about this, but a wrestler, and I know Zach doesn't know much about wrestling, but Jay Briscoe passed away this week. A very talented indie wrestler for pretty much all his career. Died in a car crash on Tuesday night, aged just 38. Real name, Jamin Pugh. Dying just a week before his 39th birthday, and the day before his brother and tag team partner Mark Briscoe as well. It was his birthday. Just an absolutely horrible situation. He was taking his two daughters to cheerleading practice when a car just veered into the other side of the road, head-on collision, killed him, the driver of the car, his two daughters, very seriously ill in hospital. They've needed surgery, facing paralysis, possibly one of them as well. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. And there is a GoFundMe type campaign, which if anyone is a wrestling fan and wants to donate to that, it's already raised over 200,000. But 38 years old, he wrestled in Ring of Honor, Impact, GCW, New Japan, many more. Probably the greatest Ring of Honor wrestler of all time. 13 times World Tag Team Champion, 2-time World Champion as a solo performer, an absolute legend in the industry. And it was just sad. I know you're not a wrestling fan, Zach. I don't know if you even saw this story or not, but it's just heartbreaking stuff.
No, I just saw you and Steve talking about it. Can I ask you one question about all this?
Sure.
What's this deal with Warner Brothers not allowing a tribute or something?
Yeah, so AEW on Wednesday night. So he signed officially for Ring of Honor, but AEW had bought Ring of Honor, so it's basically the same company.
Okay.
But Warner Brothers Discovery won't or wouldn't let the Briscoes appear on AEW television because back in, I think 11 years ago, 9 or 11 years ago, Jay Briscoe tweeted out something saying that he didn't want his kids taught about gay marriage in school, and if anyone tried to teach his kids that, he would shoot them. So it got a lot of outrage. He apologised, and like to his immense credit, he spent the next while educating himself about LGBTQ plus stuff and finding out about it and learning about it. There's gay wrestlers that have spoken out after his death about how much he embraced them and how he was a changed person. And many folk understand that he said that it was a stupid thing to say, he was wrong, and he's moved on. And he's learned and he's educated and he's not that person anymore. And I mean, I don't need to tell you this as a man of God, like forgiveness. It's like second chances. It's like, for some reason, Warner Brothers, though, were like, nope, we're just not letting them on TV because they feared the backlash that would affect advertising.
Yeah.
So
in essence, he sort of, even after he was passed away, he was like cancelled.
Basically, yeah. Because the thing is, a lot of the work that he did, it's come out, he did like privately. So he wasn't one of those folk that go and do a public thing, because you know that that's for show. The fact that he did this privately, no one knew that he went and did all this stuff, kind of shows that he genuinely meant it and wanted to change. And the AW planned this tribute. They usually do a 10-bell salute, and they weren't allowed to do any of that. And I just think that's absolutely scandalous. It's just disgusting. A guy died in heartbreaking circumstances. His daughter's fighting for their life and their future, and they blocked it. AEW have done a special tribute show. It's going to be on YouTube and stuff, but it was heartbreaking, and it was weird because like he was my favourite. The Briscoes were my favourites from Ring of Honor. I got into Ring of Honor quite late in the day, and I loved them right away. And Tuesday night, didn't have a good sleep, and every time I woke up, I just kept thinking about him and his daughters, and just how in an instant your whole life can change. And that kind of comes to the second tribute we want to pay as well. The footballer Anton Walks died aged just 25 on Thursday, the day after being involved in a boating accident. Talented defender, started his youth career at Spurs, played in the League Cup for them, captained their youth side in the UEFA Youth Cup, spent 4 seasons in MLS, 3 with Atlanta United in 2017, 2020 and 2021, went back to England and played for Portsmouth in between that for 2 seasons. Made 79 appearances for Atlanta across all competitions, scoring 4 goals, 2 assists. Then the Englishman was picked second by Charlotte in the 2021 expansion draft, going on to make 24 appearances for them in their inaugural season. They were at training camp in Florida. It was a day off, and Anton Walks was out in a boat. It was another head-on collision, and he was pronounced dead in hospital. Charlotte's going to be having a celebration of life on Tuesday for him at the Bank of America Stadium, and it's just another just heartbreaking story.
Yeah, so tragic.
And I'm sorry to start the show on such a downer. I just didn't want to bury these at the end. I just wanted to get our tributes out to both of those guys. Our thoughts are obviously with the family and the friends of Jay Briscoe and of Anton Walks and everyone that knew them and loved them. So obviously no easy way to transition from that, but let's just raise it. Let's have a little bit of fun now, and then we'll get into the football chat. It's time for Hot Chocolate Boy.
Hot chocolate boy, he's never had one. Hot chocolate bad one. Hot chocolate boy.
Yes, I've started a new segment, Zach. It's only going to last a month, like so many of my new segments do. I get an idea, ask a couple of players some questions, and then never revisit it again. We never did go back to that whole toast thing that I was doing.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, I will get back to that at some point. I also have one about baked potatoes that we'll save for later.
That sounds delicious. I love
a baked potato, yeah. So Hot Chocolate Boy, it's because the 13th Vancouver Hot Chocolate Festival is continuing, and I went to my second visit. We were going to do more than one a week, and then I thought better of it for my health.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure you said your list, or Caitlin's list included
there was 29
venues.
There was 29. We've done 2 now. I'm going to be doing a third one on Wednesday after Whitecaps training. But yeah, so we've just done 1 this week because health. Also, they're very expensive. They all range from like $10 to $12, $13.
Is this too much sugar for you or what?
Yeah, trying to cut down on all the sugary stuff that I have, because obviously I do have a very, very horrible diet. But what we did is we went to the Pie Hall in Burnaby. It's on 6th Street in Burnaby. And they've got 3 drinks that's going to be part of the Hot Chocolate Festival. They've got 2 just now, another 1 that comes on the start of February. So if I tell you the name of the first one, you'll maybe understand why we're only having 1 a week. It's called the Fat Elvis Hot Chocolate. And that was the one that Caitlin went for, and I don't want her dying on the toilet, so that's why we're just having 1 a week. So I picked my moment before you were drinking before I said that. So the Fat Elvis Hot Chocolate, it's made with cocoa berry, 65% Inea dark chocolate, house-made peanut butter banana syrup, fresh peanut butter whipped cream.
Wow.
And it is paired with a pecan, peanut butter, banana, and chocolate mini pie.
That sounds delicious.
It was very sickly, but it was delicious. I had a little bit of Caitlin's.
I'm not a huge fan of the dark chocolate, but that still sounds delicious.
See, I find dark chocolate, hot chocolate, a lot less sickly than the milk chocolate one. Both of these were great. They still don't beat Chez Christophe in Burnaby that we had last week. I still highly recommend that. That's my number 1. I had the Triple D raspberry cream. I'm a big fan of Triple D at the best of times, as you know, Zach. And that is made with Calibo white chocolate, cream cheese for added richness, and a tart raspberry coulis topped with pie crumbs and pie crust.
Oh, wow.
And it is paired with a delicious raspberry pie.
Wow.
Yeah. They were like, I think, $10 each.
With the pie, though?
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad.
And I would say they were probably in 12-ounce mugs as well. So, yeah, highly recommend that. That is Hot Chocolate Boy's recommendation for this week. If you've been out at the Hot Chocolate Festival, let us know. We'll have another recommendation in next week's show.
Every girl yelling, wanting him to be the terror. Hot Chocolate Boy, he's a sensation. Hot Chocolate Nation, Hot Chocolate Boy.
So let's finally get into the football chat now, as my dog falls asleep and starts snoring beside me. So that can only mean one thing. It's time to talk Whitecaps. Yes, the Whitecaps' reign in Spain fell mainly on the plane, but it's over. They flew back to Vancouver on Sunday. They had to leave the hotel at 3 a.m. to start their journey. That's horrendous, especially when you've been playing a game the day before.
Yeah, that sounds like one of their, a flight got canceled.
Well, they're going. They've got to get from Marbella to Malaga and then fly from Malaga and then check in, of course, before all that as well. So, yeah, very, very early start for the team. They'll be back in Vancouver on the training pitch on Wednesday. They're getting a couple of days off to meet their family, rest, relax, take the dogs out, go to the Hot Chocolate Festival, whatever they want to do as healthy athletes like ourselves. But the Whitecaps did get their first 2 pre-season games of the year under their belt this week. 2 defeats, but not to be expected, or not to be unexpected, a I think, Zach, because they were playing teams that are midway through their seasons. And yes, they might be on a winter break, but they're still at a way different level to what the Whitecaps have been. 2-0 loss to Hamburg on Wednesday, and then a 2-1 loss to Wolfsburg, the Austrian Bundesliga team, on Saturday. Hamburg, of course, Bundesliga 2. Christian Dahomey getting the only goal of those 2 games. And it was good tests for them, Zach. The full game of the Hamburg game was streamed by Hamburg on YouTube. And it was a great one as well. And then we both watched the highlights of the Wolfsburg game today as well.
Was the Wolfsburg game, was that game on live anywhere?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't streamed. The Hamburg thing, Hamburg had just arranged that. Now, speaking to the Caps about that, nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but they've really enjoyed their time in Spain, and they might look to go back there next year. And they've learned a lot from being there as well, just the hotels and the facilities, and they really liked what was done with the streaming, and the fact there's all these other teams there as well, so they can get lots of action if they want. So they do hope to maybe go back there next year and maybe look at streaming the stuff, because that Hamburg thing was pretty good production. You can choose between 1 and 3 cameras with the company and stuff, and it was nice to see a pre-season friendly streamed like that.
I woke up early that day to watch the game live, and it was fun. It was all German commentating, right? Yeah, which is also fun.
Such a beautiful language.
Just rolls off the tongue, right?
It does.
No, I thought it was I kind of, it was kind of what I expected. You know, you have a Hamburg side that, you know, they're getting ready to go back to the Bundesliga. Yeah, they've been off for Bundesliga 2. They've been off for 60 plus days ish, so like 2 months. But yeah, they play. Is it this week? No, next weekend. I think is their first. I can't remember if it's this weekend or next week is their first real competitive match.
But the Hamburg coaching staff as well said to Vanni after the game that they were very impressed by the shape that the Whitecaps were in, because they said, we're 3 weeks further along than you guys, and you really give us a good test.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like they were much closer to playing a competitive game, therefore they were, you know, in much better shape. But yeah, I thought the Whitecaps, you know, I feel like they probably could have or should have created more chances going forward. But all in all.
I think Vanni thinks that too. It's like that creativity and the link-up is certainly something they need to work on. I mean, the Wolfsburg game was a very interesting one because they took the lead in that, and then they let the 2 goals up in the second half, but that was after they changed the whole team, and it was all the young guys that came on, and the trialists and the call-ups from WFC2.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great goal. Like, it was a nice team goal. Good passing.
Ali Ahmed, some great play. He's looked good in these 2 games. He's one of the guys, and I know, like, he's not just got this deal to make up the numbers. They see him as an MLS starter, but great play from him, the cutback, and really nice to see Dahomey score. Playing up front.
Centrally.
Yeah, in an attacking role.
So it was a great build up to the goal. Rusty to Ahmed, then Ahmed with a give and go to Ryan Gold. And then, like you said, really good service and Dahomey in a spot. He'll probably want to find himself a lot in this year in the box to finish things off. But I think that's the kind of play I think Vanni wants to see from his side going forward. You're right. Obviously, lots of changes. One question I have for you, because I haven't been on social media like at all today. What was up with No Hasal?
Oh, they just wanted to rest him and give the other 2 keepers the chance to play a half each.
You got to feel bad for Max in that second half. That first goal, did not look good. And then there's that one other highlight where he also did not look great, where he was charged out.
Nothing he could do about that free kick. That was a stunner for the second.
No. The second
goal. That first goal. There's a few people defensively, I don't think, cover themselves in glory with that.
No, but he's high up on the list. But there's not the second goal, but there's another highlight in that second half where he's like charging out and doesn't win the ball, and the guy goes. Anyway, they have a chance.
Oh, and it goes over.
Yeah, Ty's strike partner there, Maurice something or other. I think that was an awful shot, an awful shot when he had like an open goal.
Well, Vanni spoke to media after the two games. So what I've done, the questions that I asked him, I've kind of amalgamated them just from Wednesday and Saturday, just talking about the time in Spain, what they've learned from this trip, and just what they're going to take forward to work on now when they get back to Vancouver. Here's the gaffer. The whole camp so far in Spain, how have you found the environment? It's obviously very different to what you had last season and previous seasons as well. And I know that you were looking to have more tests, which these two games will do, but just the whole environment, getting into that heat, how have you found everything? And are you dreading coming back to the non-stop rain now?
No, actually not. We are the only thing that I miss. I'm gonna be romantic. I miss my wife, but it's okay, and my cats. And no, the setup is fantastic. We're really liking it. We're really loving here. Again, as I said before, not only the structure, the hotel, but also the fact that we are surrounded by European teams. So we are in the same hotel at Red Bull Salzburg. We were with Stuttgart. Today we play with Hamburg. So there's, I would say, this international feeling, this willing from the boys to also be proud of the fact that not too many people know about MLS, but we want to show that we are a real good team. And I was very happy at the end of the season, at the end of the game today, when Hamburg staff say, "Hey, it's just your first game. You guys look very good for a first game. We are 3 weeks more than you in the preparation, and we played an even game." So I think that all these things contributes to having the right environment, and I would say prepare ourselves very good for this first trip, and then getting to the second trip where we're gonna face MLS opponents in Palm Springs, and where we are really looking for the intensity and also try to play games in a way that is going to be very resembling what is going to happen in the season.
I might have completely missed this from your Instagrams and stuff. I only thought you had Frida, so you've got more than one cat.
We got a new cat New Year's Eve. Now we have Frida and Pablo. So, that's the thing.
Fantastic. So that's the second game under your belt. We've obviously not seen anything from it yet, but from reading stuff on Twitter and watching the little things that Sarita and folk put up, looked like a very good outing for your side. What are you taking away from this whole trip and these two games?
Yeah, that we actually, I think we're on the right path, because, while every day we've seen improvement. Today was the second game. We see a real improvement, especially in the first half. We played really well. I don't know if you guys had the possibility to see the game or watch the game or not, but, it was very good. I'm happy that we gave the chance in the second half to, if I'm not mistaken, 10 guys from the second team and guys on trial to play. So we knew that it could have been harder for them against that first division team from Austria that played basically no change in between the first and the second half. So I'm really satisfied. I'm happy with the performance.
Good to see Christian Dahomey get on the score sheet today. What are you expecting from Dajo this season? Obviously last year didn't go the way I'm sure club or player had hoped it was going to be for him, but back playing up front today with Brian being out and getting that goal, is that where you see him, kind of that main striker's role, or at least on the wing or something? I know you don't like wingers, but...
Yeah, one of the three guys up top, the two number 10s or the number 9, Daho will play in this position. I think we saw last year that as a wingback or as a pure wide player, he can be on and off. While when he plays up top, he can be more consistent, and that's what we look this season, consistency. we have a lot of, I would say, competition, because at the moment we are 5 guys, 6 if we include in Simon Becher. There's a young guy that is actually doing well in camp, and we maybe will sign another guy. So that's that. I'm giving you also something about the transfer market, and so there's a lot of competition, but it's good. Everyone is taking the competition in the right way, and Daho, I can tell you that he arrived in this preseason in a much better condition than he arrived in the last preseason.
It's good to hear. So heading back to Vancouver now, then heading off to Palm Springs, what do you feel you're still needing to really work on as a group from what you've seen for these 12 days now going forward? What are you still wanting to get up to levels that maybe aren't quite there yet?
We're working well. I think what we need to work now is to do the thing that we are doing in more than 45 minutes. For the players now, they play no more longer than 45. So from when we arrive in Palm Springs, we'll rotate the players in different game, but try to keep the same team for maybe 60, 65, 70, even 90 minutes. And in order to understand which are the players that are readier to start the season in the starting 11. So keep working on both the phases of the game. I would say I'm very pleased on how we are doing the defensive part of the game so far. And probably if we have to get up a little, it's more on I would say when we have the ball.
He's the gaffer. You can't try it on with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall, has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
The gaffer, Vanni Sartini there, just talking about the time in Spain. And yeah, feels that they need to just work a little bit more in this build-up, and I think that's very clear. But they're still finding their feet. There's still a lot of pre-season to go. They've got these 6 good tests now down in Palm Springs as well. We talked about streaming earlier. No decision made yet as to what's happening with the streaming. I believe there is going to be streaming, but I think they're still sorting out exactly what that's going to be and what that's going to look like. So, I mean, hopefully we'll get to see all the games.
One other question, you answered the Hasal resting, was because Brian White also didn't play, right?
Oh, but Brian has a calf contusion.
Okay, so bruise.
We'll talk about that.
Right, we'll talk about it later.
Later on when we start looking at the forwards. But yeah, that not great. But yeah. But that was a little bit about the games in Spain. There's been a few other big talking points around the Whitecaps this week, and we'll be back chatting about some of those after this.
Hi, I'm Ryan Gold, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's our Artist of the Month here at AFTN for the month of January, our tribute to Terry Hall that sadly passed away just before Christmas, lead singer of The Specials, and that was their biggest hit, Ghost Town, released in June 1981, spent 3 weeks at number 1 in the UK charts, a song about unemployment, the devastation of UK towns and cities due to urban decay, inner city violence. You know, we love to raise the mood here at AFTN, Zach, with these upbeat songs that we play.
Classic, Michael.
It's such an iconic start to a song as well. And anyway, let's get back to the football chat now, and we're going to talk some Whitecap rumours. They continue to swirl, and we'll address some of them after we hear some words from Vanni Sartini talking about Salif, Sane and Baribo. Two players we've spoken a lot about in the last couple of shows. May or may not be Whitecaps players in the end. Here's the gaffer again.
Salif Sane. He's been training with you guys. What have you seen from him in terms of a defensive profile that might differ from the players you already have?
So Salif doesn't need, introduction. He's a very good player. He's a very, very good player. So we see that his defensive positioning, the capacity on playing on defending on high balls, heading. It's really good. We don't have to forget that he's a player that he didn't play a minute of soccer. He didn't do anything for the last 18 months. So after very heavy session, the first 4 or 5 session, he is kind of he needed a day of rest today. We hope that it's gonna be okay to play at least a little bit of the game Saturday, and we will decide then accordingly to what we see in terms of his big main question is his capacity, his ability, or I would say is the possibility for him to still play consistently without hurting his knee and being physically okay. So we'll have an honest discussion with him and with our performance staff at the end, and we'll go from there. But in terms of his quality, I think it's undisputable that he's a very good player.
Just wanted to ask you a couple of things about Salif as well. I mean, we all know what a good player he is, and is this a player that if you do feel that he can go, and obviously this question's not playing on a grass pitch, playing on an artificial surface, how that would maybe trigger the injury, but if he's a guy that you feel could go, Axel talked a little bit to Gemma about it's kind of a win-win situation. He gets a look at how he is, you get a look at him. Is he a kind of guy you would want to add to the squad? Would you have space for him on the squad?
Well, space, for sure. Space is there also because if we didn't have the idea that he could have joined the squad, he wouldn't be here on trial with us. The thing is that, again, we need to be very, very, very deep and in the evaluation, the physical evaluation. We are working a lot with performance, with our medical staff to understand what if the thing is sustainable or not. On a character standpoint, is a top guy. He's helping the young center backs. He's putting himself at the disposal of the team 100%. So for sure, if he would be 100% full, we wouldn't even think about it. Yeah, it would be part of the squad.
And is he open to a move to MLS, or is he also kind of using this to maybe see if there's interest from more German clubs or someone else in Europe?
Well, that's another question for me. That's a question more for the management. So it's the thing that I can say, he is enjoying training with us for sure.
Another player that you've been linked with that I know you probably can't say too much about, Baribo. And interestingly, of course, you're playing his club, Wolfsberger, on Saturday. Can we expect him in a Whitecaps jersey in one half and a Wolfsberger jersey in the other?
Yeah. Yes, I'm not saying Ty is one of the players that we're looking at. So that's, there's no secret about it. And we'll have another look at him Saturday when we play against each other. But again, it's more a question for Axel and the management than for me. I'm focused on the player that I have, and I'm happy to answer any question to the player that are working now with me.
We spoke on Wednesday, obviously, a little bit about Salif, Sane and Baribo. You got a chance to look at them both today in that second half. Salif came on, and then Baribo obviously got the goal. What did you make out of both the performances?
Baribo, we know him, we scouted him, and he played the game that he's usually play. Very hard-working striker, moving a lot, and it was a little bit of the goal was a little bit lucky, to be honest, because it was like kind of a half a stud touch to go on a corner kick, but. I think he showed that he can be a good player. Salif did well. He had no more than 25 minutes on his legs because of we need to be very careful with his kind of development and kind of I would say getting back into the right shape in order to be on the field for 90 minutes. And he did well. He was in the center of defense. He's not, I would say, fully in our tactics, but it's normal. He did like 5 training sessions with us, so it was a little bit too much man-oriented then. So well, but he did well. Now we'll see what he wants to do basically, and what if he can match with our expectation and his expectation, and we'll see if he's going to stay with us a little more or not.
He's the gaffer. You can try it on with him. He's the gaffer. Even when he's on a limb. He's the gaffer. When his back's against the wall. Has the answer to it all. He's the gaffer.
So the gaffer, Vanni Sartini, he's limited really in what he can say, because as he mentioned there, he kind of defers these roster building decisions to Axel and the management team, and that's fair enough. We were chatting a little bit about it beforehand. He just really wants to focus on the players that he has got here. But I mean, these rumours are going about, and obviously Baribo, the Israeli forward, plays for Wolfsberger, played against the Whitecaps on Saturday, scored against the Whitecaps on Saturday. Now, when I'd asked Vanni about him scoring, I hadn't seen the goal with the highlights by that point, and Vanni's like, it's not really much of a goal, it's just like a stud to get it over the line. But they all count, and that's what we need. We need these down and dirty and cheap goals.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, that's what you want from your forward.
Yeah.
The rumours are that Wolfsberger are looking for quite a big fee to let Baribo go, which is a bit surprising because transfer market have his contract expiring at the end of June. I don't know what the options and everything are like for Bundesliga or whatever, or if he's going to be a free agent after that. But I mean, it might just be one of these negotiating things. They're starting big. Whitecaps will come in low and then they'll try and meet in the middle or try and get something maybe sorted out. I don't know, but I mean, if they're looking for a big fee for him, I don't know that's a great option. I think there's better players that you could get for that fee or less, maybe.
Yeah, despite his somewhat impressive numbers, you think that if they're going to have to, I mean, the term big is relative, right? Like Lucas Cavallini is the biggest fee they paid for a player.
I mean, so, in my head, I was thinking 2-ish million, maybe something like that. Which I guess in world football's not massive.
It's almost like a pittance in world football, but yeah. No,
but do the Whitecaps have that money? Like, do they have money to pay for transfer fees? Because a lot of the business they're doing are free agents. They've got money to pay them, some GAM, TAM, thank you, ma'am, all that stuff. But do they actually have money to go out and splash that cash and pay transfer fees? That's the question.
Yeah, no, that is a valid question. Like, what is their budget? What are they working with?
And Axel's actually going to be talking to media next week, so that is something I hope to ask him. We'll see what kind of answer we get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Baribo, he looks good. He's a guy that can score goals. If they can get him for a good price and a good salary, I mean, it's worth going for it. I've liked the videos I've seen. I've liked his movement. He's a guy that is in the right place at the right time. But if Wolfsberger are going to be stupid about it, then it's like, yeah, look elsewhere. And the rumours are that they have got other targets as well. So, I mean, we saw this last year. You move on if you can't get your target onto the next one.
Or it just means they wait and get him on a free at the end of his contract in June, July, which I know is not.
Can they afford to do that? Because that's the other thing I was going to talk about. Because we spoke at the end of the last part, Brian White with his calf contusion. Now, Brian has not had a great time of it last year with injuries. And if these little niggles continue, the depth that we have got at that position is not great.
No, but Vanni Sartini would not be the first Whitecaps manager who's been told you have to wait until July to bring in this player or that player for this reason or that reason. Usually, particularly around, transfer fee / player availability, their season coming to an end or whatever. So it would not be ideal, obviously, for sure. But I don't think anyone would be surprised if that's what happened. What would happen? But
no,
obviously, if that is the only option, or the best, or what they feel is the best option for them, obviously Axel will have other alternatives that they would look at. You would imagine either in addition to Ty or instead of Ty.
I mean, it's a big opportunity for Dahomey as well to challenge White, and if White can stay healthy, and there's a lot of games coming up in different competitions as well, because by the end of May they'll have played MLS, Canadian Championship and Champions League.
Yep.
So there's a lot of opportunities. We're going to hear from Simon Becher later in the show as well, another young striker that is certainly going to see time in games this year. So, I mean, he mentioned in the last part that he sees Dahomey as one of these front three players now this year, which is great. And he also said Dahomey's come back into camp a lot fitter than he was when he came in last year. So that's good to see as well, because it shows he really wants to knuckle down and make a go of it.
And he's probably excited to be playing more in the areas that he likes to play.
Yeah. All you can do as well when you're a player like that is seize your chance. And if you're going to score, even if it's just a preseason friendly, you still want to ride the guy that's actually in form and scoring. So
yeah,
we'll see how things shake up down in Palm Springs. Now, the other player, of course, that has been mentioned from the Whitecaps of late is Senegalese centre-back Salif Sane. And we've spoken about him in the last two shows. Saw some minutes in a Whitecaps jersey in the second half against Wolfsburg. Vanni said that they want to have a look at him in that game, and they want to then also evaluate to see if he can handle an MLS workload. Because it's all the travel, it's the different kind of pitches, it's the different atmospheres. We spoke last week about if you're a guy that suffered injuries, is playing at a pitch like BC Place for half your games ideal, which may or may not be.
How do they? What goes into determining whether he can handle that load? Because it's not like, unless they're putting him on a plane to fly around, like how can you can't simulate a lot of those things, right? So
I don't know.
What are the metrics they're using for that?
It's kind of weird because like Axel and Vanni, it almost feels like they're not on the same page with when they're talking about Sane, and it might just be because Vanni doesn't want to say too much negative to say, look, we're not interested in him. But Axel kind of downplayed it a little bit. Vanni has basically, as you heard there, said, yeah, we'd love him on the team. We know what he brings on and off the pitch. He's a great presence on the pitch. He's a great presence in the locker room as well. He's a great character. They've got the salary space, they've got the roster space to add him if they wanted, but at the same time he can be using this as a chance to maybe earn another deal in Germany or somewhere else in Europe. And Vanni said that they'll have a chat now to see what he wants to do and then what they want to do next. Pretty much at the same time as we were talking to Vanni, Manuel Veth from Transfer Market had tweeted out that his sources have told him the Whitecaps' interest in Sane is over. So, I don't know, do you believe the coach or do you believe someone that's sources are saying that it is over? I think they will still evaluate it. I'm not sure he might join them in Palm Springs or not. There's going to be other options. I think if they can get a younger option that isn't maybe as injury prone, I think that is the way to go. Yeah. Someone mid to late 20s that plays at a high level. Axel's talked about wanting to be shopping on the top shelf, which I did a tweet about, but I think everyone missed my subtle pornographic magazine jokes that I had, because when I hear top shelf, I think top shelf magazines. Maybe says a lot about my youth.
What does that mean?
Oh, maybe this is a UK thing. Like the phrase top shelf is where all the porn mags get kept in newsagents.
No, it was like that in Canada too back in the day.
So I basically tweeted out, they're wanting a boy that can play, a real hustler from a club international, which was a UK porn mag. So I was doing those jokes, and folk were just focusing on the top shelf, saying the Whitecaps will never sign top shelf players. And I thought, my whole porn mag joke's just gone over everyone's head. I was quite disappointed with that. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to hear Axel say that at least.
Yeah. I mean, Vanni's quote on Sane was, now we'll see what he wants to do, and if he can match his expectations and our expectations, we'll see if he's going to stay with us a little bit more or not. So I guess we'll find out that soon enough. But one centre-back that is definitely no longer going to be featuring with the Whitecaps, Daniel Crutzen. Spoke about him a couple of shows ago. Forge standout, 3 championship wins with Forge. The Dutch player was in camp, didn't play in the game today. Vanni said that he's no longer going to be involved with the Whitecaps. He feels that they've got a lot of depth at that position, and he wasn't really going to see time on the pitch. He's got a good offer from USL. You imagine when he says that it's USL Championship. So I guess he's going to be weighing up whether he wants to go to USL, whether he wants to go to Forge. He wasn't going to be a starter here. And I think for a guy like him, he needs to be a starter. So I on one of the Discord channels that I read, the Whitecaps were getting pretty much shat on for, letting another potential good star go on, a CPL player, and he could get Canadian citizenship, etc., etc. They're actually doing the best thing for the player, because you don't want to just bury him in WFC2 and he's not going to go on the pitch, because he's not going to jump ahead of if they sign a Sane or a Blackman or a Ranko or a Laborda, any of these guys. So I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, and hopefully it works out for him, because he's been a quality player at CPL, and kind of hope the best for him. He's
a top talent, yeah. Now, talking of centre-backs, one that will be missing just for a few days is Ranko Veselinovic, who's been called up by Serbia to face the US in a friendly on this coming Wednesday the 25th, at the newly named Bank of Montreal Stadium in LA. The Bank of California's gone, and Montreal has swept in.
Man, that's
and
crazy.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow.
Did MDS have a role in that?
Oh, there we go.
He wouldn't have, but it's just
I didn't
weird.
even think of that.
It's just weird.
Well, it's because of Max, that's why.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's better. Yeah, that's more fitting. But that's just weird. I guess BMO offered them more money. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, I guess. BMO, I mean, you can say what you want about big banks, and I often do, but BMO's been very supportive of
football,
soccer in Canada. It's like, it's great for them to continue that. And I guess they clearly want to try and get a bigger inroad into the US market.
Yeah, but so, like, do they have branches down there or something?
I don't know. See,
they must, right?
When I came here, I thought, okay, I'm not opening an account with them because it's got Montreal in the title.
Yeah.
I wasn't opening with the Royal Bank because it had Royal in the title. So TD had Toronto. Yes, I basically narrowed that down. No, I won't tell you who I'm with now, but it's none of those.
You don't want us to rob you. Yeah,
Hackers everywhere.
I forgot to tell you this again. I mentioned I was listening to the old World Cup podcast over the last few weeks. The whole CIBC thing with them taking away the scarves. Yeah. So at one point, I can't remember if it was in the first game or was the second. No, it was the first game. So we just not like really loudly, and more so just for the benefit of the players' families and friends or whatever. We just started chanting CIBC, CIBC.
Oh, that's tremendous. Surprised you didn't get kicked out by FIFA.
No.
Anyway, back to Ranko and Serbia. This marks the second time that Veselinovic has been called up to Serbia's senior national team.
Mm-hmm.
Previously played a friendly against the Dominican Republic in January 21. So these kind of camps are good for players like Ranko to have a look. He has played at youth level for Serbia, everything like 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. So it's a good continuation for him. And if the Whitecaps were maybe wanting to move him on as an international player, gets him a bit more money. So he'll be taking on the US on Wednesday. And on the US side, we could see newly minted US citizen Julian Gressel. Talked about that quickly in the last show. But he celebrated his citizenship with a call-up to Anthony Hudson's US men's national team camp for their two friendlies against Serbia on Wednesday in LA at the BMO Stadium, and then 3 days later in Carson at the Galaxy's Stadium as well. So talk about that in a sec. Gressel did some media with US Soccer on Saturday. Got to jump on that call, got to ask him a question. Here's a little bit from Julian Gressel.
Take us through the last couple months. Was there indications when it became clear you were going to get your citizenship? Did Greg tell you that you would be in the plans for the winter camp, or was it a surprise in the last few days or weeks?
I want to say it was more of a surprise. It was obviously something I knew that it was a possibility now that I got my citizenship in November. But it was still obviously a lot happened, especially after the World Cup, and that's why it was still a bit uncertainty about kind of what this camp will look like. So I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and then it was a great surprise to find out that first I was on the preliminary roster, and then Anthony Hudson called me and asked me if I wanted to come in, and it was a great conversation we had initially, and it was an exciting time now, an exciting couple of weeks, and I'm very, very happy and excited for this opportunity to represent the U.S.
And to follow up, take us through your American journey to get to this point. Obviously, you've had ties to the U.S. for many years, going back to youth and college. To culminate in this call-up, what do you see the big picture here, and what you've gone through to get here?
How long do we have? No, I'm just kidding. No, it's it was a long journey and one that's pretty unusual, I think. Obviously, I came here for the first time as an exchange student. Went back to Germany for a couple of years to finish high school, and then ultimately decided to come to college. And play at Providence College there for 3.5 years, had a great career in college and got the opportunity to play in MLS. And, I met my wife in college, and that kind of ultimately then led to a green card through the marriage. And 3 years later, here we are. So it's been definitely, a long journey, a journey that I've enjoyed. Ever since I first stepped foot into the U.S., I fell in love with the country, and that's why it's really exciting to be able to represent the U.S. on the field in those upcoming 2 games, and even my family back home, they're obviously all German and all from Germany. They're very excited. I got phone calls. I had a really, really cool conversation with my grandpa, for example, who was huge soccer fan, obviously, and a huge fan of mine, and he, I could really hear how proud he was in his voice and how excited he was for me to have this opportunity that I've worked hard for, and to kind of get rewarded that way is awesome, and I'm certainly going to enjoy it. just as much as I'm going to try and obviously do really well.
Just spoke to Vanni this week about your call-up, and he was absolutely delighted on a personal level and a professional level for you. But he also spoke about how this is really going to get you well prepared for the season to come and the big test that you've got, more so than just playing in pre-season friendlies. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, was there a little bit of banter with yourself and Ranko on the flight over in the build-up to this game that's coming up?
Yeah, of course there was some banter between Ranko and myself. We actually didn't fly over together, but as soon as kind of he knew that he was going, I knew that I was going, we kind of immediately started. He was like, I'm not going to talk to you for the next week, getting after it in training, but it's all fun and games, and I'm excited to play against him and see him. But yeah, in terms of preparation for the season, of course, those are two big games that you have, now on the schedule for me. They're exciting. They're going to be fun, and to play kind of at that level right away is certainly going to prepare me well. I know we have a fast start to the season in Vancouver with the Champions League and everything, and I want to be ready to go right away when that rolls around, and these two games will definitely help with that.
We hear in the past about sort of the preparation that happens before the camp, sort of homework that players are given. I was just wondering how much briefing have you gotten about what's going to happen in this camp, how you're perceived? Do you know what positions or roles you'll be used in? Just kind of the backdrop or the prep for this.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that the style of play, right? I don't think it's going to change too much from what we've seen in the World Cup. So for us players coming in, obviously we've all watched the games, and we kind of have, not just watch it, with half an eye. I think we watched it pretty well, and so we kind of know what roles we need to be in terms of the different positions and stuff. And I think over the next few days we'll have more in-depth conversations with the coaching staff, and we'll find out kind of how many minutes we'll play and all that type of stuff, because it is still preseason. So, but again, in terms of overall, I think we know pretty well of what the style will look like, what the philosophy is, what the what the standard is, and that won't change much from the World Cup games that we've all watched. So.
And then, Julian, are you going to be attacking, do you think, or we get a look at fullback? Do you guys have any sense yet?
Yeah, I think I'll play, fullback, to be honest, and then we'll see maybe a little bit more forward as well. But again, those detailed conversations will still happen over the next few days.
Julian, I was wondering how your role is going to be a little different with the U.S. compared to when you're in Vancouver. I know Coach Vanni sometimes has you playing in multiple positions during a one single game. So how different is it going to be playing forward and playing maybe a bit of fullback? Maybe you're not as used to that here with the Whitecaps.
I mean, I think throughout my whole career, I've played multiple positions in multiple different systems. So it's nothing really going to be too new for me. Like I said earlier, I think the style of play is very defined here. So it's going to be easy for me to slide into different positions on the field, and whatever the coaches have in terms of a plan, I'll play that. And then when I get back to Vancouver, I'll focus on what Vanni wants from me there. So I'm excited for these two games. Whatever role I'll play, if it's fullback, if it's right wing, if it's 8, whatever. It's going to be exciting, and I'm excited to be representing the U.S. and then worry about Vancouver once I join them again in Palm Springs.
Julian Gressel, delighted to be American, delighted to be part of this team, already talking about it in a we and our and us thing. That's what you want as a fan of a national team when you're players. He's really bought in, and he spoke about his love of America. He came over here many years ago, met his wife here, and he feels American. So it's a great move for him. It's a great opportunity for him. And a fun fact, 30 US players who have earned their first cap at one of these January camps have then gone on to play for the US at a World Cup. So, I mean, it's a big lure for Gressel, and I mean, he's got a chance. He's a really good player, and like I don't care what country they go to play for. It's nice to have Whitecaps players playing on national teams. Makes the Whitecaps feel a little bit more premium as well, because you've got fully fledged international players. So hopefully he does see minutes in one of these 2 games. I'm pretty sure he will. But he did speak there about wanting to, or he thinks he'll be playing as a right back for the US team. But Vanni sees him more as a number 8. Actually, before we talk about that, let's hear a little bit from Vanni just talking about Gressel's call-up and how he plans to use him this year. Julian Gressel got his first call-up to the American national team at the end of this month. Obviously, it disrupts your plans a little bit, but you must be absolutely delighted that he's got involved in that. What are you expecting from Julian this year?
First of all, I'm happy, really happy that him and Ranko got the call with the national team. So every time that someone gets an international call, I'm really happy. And I think that even if you're in preseason, for him to have the chance to play 2 international games, and it's fantastic. And it's not going to, I would say, remove anything of his preparation in the team. What I expect is like a couple of things. So we want to play him as number 8, like he did in Atlanta the first year, a couple of years when he was in the league. I think that is time for him to play in that position because he's not at his old, but it's a position where he can cover less ground up and down and be impactful with his right foot, serving ball in the box, crossing, and even arriving in the box when the ball is when he's on the weak side and scoring goals, and defending, covering less ground than when you're a wingback or a wide player. So I expect that he's going to bring his quality of good technique, endurance, and leadership. He's a natural leader in the group.
So just some Vanni thoughts there on Gressel. And Vanni sees him, Zach, as moving into that number 8 role that he played a bit at first with Atlanta. I don't mind that. I think he could be really good there. He's a little bit older now. He's maybe not got the legs that Vanni wants for him to tear up and down that wing as much. He was used in a number of different positions last year, and I'd like to see what he can do as an 8.
I guess I don't mind it either, in the sense that, I think he's one of their better players and he can play there. My question is, okay, who's playing right wing back or right back for them then? Obviously Blackman played in against Hamburg, right? And sort of the Hamburg game, played right back, and he's fine there. I don't think he's the greatest going forward from there. But
if they're looking at 4-3-3, then you might have 2 8s and a 6. So then you're relying on the right back to get up and down, and then you'd have Dahomey possibly on the right, Caicedo on the left.
So who is that right back? Is that going to be Blackman? Is that going to be
Blackman?
Brown?
I would think. Well, there'll be a lot of rotation with the games coming up, but I think Blackman's probably the guy they've penciled in for that.
Okay, so they can do this, and it might work out for them. But to me, it just seems weird. It seems like this is one of the Dahomes of the season, right? Like taking a player and using him in a different spot that is not his primary position. And
Ryan Raposo, like he's going to be a fully fledged wing back this year.
Right. So Raposo is going to be a wing back, and your guy who's played right back and right wing back is going to be a central midfielder. It feels weird. And again, it might work out, and might make Vanni look great, but like the Dahomey experiment, whatever, was shambolic last year, and it was hard to take because we talked about it from the beginning. Like, this is not a good idea. I don't think Ryan Raposo as a wingback, a full-time wingback, or 75% of his time as a wingback, is a good idea. I think Gressel you can get away with as an 8 because he's a better player. Like, in this league, he's one of the Whitecaps higher end players, and so I think he's capable. I think he has the abilities. I think he has the football IQ. I think he can do the job there. That they never got from Caillou or some of these other players. But it feels like the dude should be playing at right back or right wing back.
Yep. And you've got that situation again that he could go away with the national team and be playing in a different position. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. But best of luck anyway to Julian and Ranko. Let's just hope they don't kick the shit out of each other on that game on Wednesday and they get back into the Whitecaps camp all in one piece.
That is true, yeah.
But we'll be back with some more Whitecaps chat and the first of our 2 feature interviews on the show this week after this.
Hey, I am Axel Schuster and I'm listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part is another song from Terry Hall's repertoire, the band that he formed after leaving the Specials initially, Fun Boy 3, a song from 1983, also from 1981, I'll explain that. It's Our Lips Are Sealed. It was a song co-written by Terry Hall and Jane Wiedlin from the band The Go-Go's. The Go-Go's reached number 3 or 4, depending what chart you look at, in Canada with that song back in 1981. They reached number 20 in the US, only number 47 in the UK. 2 years later, Terry recorded the song with Fun Boy 3 and released it as a single with his band, reaching number 7 in the UK charts. And you can find it on Fun Boy 3's second album, Waiting. I guess you could say Vanni and Axel's lips are a little bit sealed at the moment with all the rumours flying about. Will the Whitecaps add some new additions soon? Who will they be? Where will they be? Where will they come from? Who knows? Not even Cotton Eye Joe. I mean, I talked about the Baribo and the Sane rumours that have been going around for a couple of weeks now in the last part. The latest rumour, though, came out on Sunday morning from Jeff Carlisle of ESPN, of all people, who wrote that the Whitecaps have made an offer for Yokohama Marinos goalkeeper Yohei Takaoka. The 26-year-old keeper has spent parts of the last 3 seasons with Yokohama, helped them win the 2022 J1 League Championship, Yokohama's 5th J1 title, kept 13 clean sheets over the course of this season, earning a spot in the league's best 11 in the process. Made 86 league and cup appearances for Yokohama over the years. But he's said to be wanting a new challenge, wanting to try and break his way into the Japanese national team. His current deal with Yokohama doesn't expire until January 2024. So unless Yokohama are wanting to release him and make him a free agent, the Whitecaps would have to pay a transfer fee for him, unless they could get him on a loan with an option to buy down the line. Has also played in the Japanese top flight with Sagan Tosu. And you've got to feel that if he's coming here, he's not going to come all the way from Japan with the hope of being number one. You kind of think he's coming here expecting to probably be the number one, but then it's up to him and Hasal to battle it out for that spot in training. On paper, looks that he could be an upgrade on Hasal, a bit more experienced, but I guess we'd have to wait and see. Although the offer has apparently been made for him, other reports coming out on Sunday have said that the deal is far from being complete. So I guess we'll kind of have to see how all of that plays out. But to paraphrase Vanni from Wednesday, let's talk about the Whitecaps players that are here. Now, we mentioned that up front is maybe still looking a little bit weak. Maybe it's a little bit of an understatement. Right now, there's 4 forwards officially listed on the roster, which is Brian White, Diber Caicedo, Christian Dahomey and Simon Becher. So we talked that the Dajo wing-back experiment is finally over, and they are now saving that for Ryan Raposo. Caicedo hasn't played in these 2 games as he's not fully up to speed yet, and he's getting there, which is good. I mean, surely, Zach, there is going to be another forward added. It's just, is it before the season starts, or is it going to have to wait until the window in the summer, or maybe later in this window? Who knows?
Don't call me Shirley. No, yeah, I agree with you. It feels like whether it's, I mean, ideally for them, it's someone that joins them in time for the season to kick off.
You want to get that chemistry going, but I mean, there's so many competitions as well, as we spoke about, and like right now, 2023 is a huge opportunity for last year's first choice draft pick Simon Becher to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Becher was taken first by the Whitecaps in last year's draft, 16th overall. He played for WFC 2 last year, he scored 8 goals, tallied 4 assists in his 22 MLS Next Pro appearances. He got that call up to the MLS squad and scored on his debut against Houston on August 6th, got the equaliser in the 88th minute, and then the Whitecaps went on to win it in stoppage time. He earned a first-team contract with everything that he did in 2022, and I like the way that they've gone about dealing with him. I like the fact that we've got the second team back now. You're not just giving these guys contracts, they've got to really go and show that they're worth it, and Becher certainly did that.
Yeah, it makes you think about the inaugural iteration of WFC2, where these type of players got to play games and prove themselves, and it's nice to have that back. I think it's a great part of the Whitecaps pyramid, a pathway to professionalism, or whatever, however you want to put it. So yeah, I think the goals he scored last year, and his like you said, his contribution in the games he got to play in the first team helped him earn that, and now he kind of doesn't have to earn it again because he has it, but he has to show that he's worthy of it.
Well, yeah, it's the new stage. It's like playing your video game. Achievement is unlocked, but you've now moved up to the next level.
For real.
Yeah, I have been playing a lot of my retro emulator again this week. But I got a chance to sit down in between playing games with Simon Becher over in Spain. I wasn't over in Spain. So go and stick the kettle on, grab your biscuit of choice, and enjoy our chat with Simon Becher. So, Simon, thank you so much for joining us today from Spain. First thing to ask you, how have you found your time over in Spain so far? I've been to Marbella just on a day trip when I went somewhere else in Spain, and it's a beautiful city. It's a lovely area. How have you found the time there? I know you're there to work, but how have you found your experience over there?
Yeah, it's been really nice. I remember last preseason we were in Vancouver for 20 days. So I'd pick Marbella every day of the week to Vancouver's January. But no, it was good. I got to see the town a little bit. We had a day off, so I just went in, got lunch, walked around. No, it's been wonderful. Great to be with the team in a group setting, and yeah.
Yeah, you've missed the rain, which I'm sure you're glad about. It looks like the first 2 days of training next week's meant to be dry, so you might only have a couple of days of rain here before you're down in Palm Springs, so that's not bad. We're going to talk a little bit just about the year that you've had, because it's just over a year since the 2022 Super Draft. Does it just feel like yesterday for you? Do you remember that day, every single thing that happened with it?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. So really does feel like yesterday. All of a sudden there's 32 teams you could be going to. Everyone's always like, "Oh, where you want to go, where you think you're going to go," and you really have no idea. And then, fast forward a year later, it's kind of been a bit of a blur. But in the other way, it's been a long year. It was obviously, one that I don't think I could have predicted. Had its ups, had its downs, and yeah, fast forward a year, I'm happy to be where I am.
Yeah, because now you're sitting with that MLS deal, and the way the Whitecaps sort of dealt with you last year, from someone that's covered the team from way back before their MLS days, it's been kind of nice to see how this has worked out for you, because in the past, the first pick always got an MLS deal, often here didn't maybe make it, didn't get a lot of playing time, moved on quickly, but they've gone a different path with you, and I think it's probably really worked out great for you, because you obviously started the year off in WFC 2. I mean, fair to say maybe that the first couple of games you were a little bit slow finding your feet, but then you just hit the ground running and you didn't look back after that.
Yeah, I think, coming in, it was a bit of an adjustment, coming from the college game to the pro game. I think it was definitely a leap in speed of play and new system, new area, a whole new group of guys, a bunch of intangible things as well. So having WFC2, getting into a system, getting consistent playing time, there was a point where, all I've done my whole life is score goals. And I don't think I had one till May. And then once they started coming, I think I finished with 8 and 4 assists. And I feel like once I got my feet, they were working with me every day, working on, Dasovic and Brendan Shaw. They were working week in and week out, really identifying things that would push me to the first team, would just things to make my game better, more complete. And I think having that in the WFC2 environment, I think it was immense for me. And getting a full year under my belt in the same building as all the first team guys, yeah, it was really, really big.
Yeah, it was great to have that team back. 4 years without having a team like that here. And I think, like, watching your early games, you could see how hard you were trying to get that first goal, and the frustration when you were coming close, which you did on a number of occasions. And then it seemed like the relief when you got that goal, but also you're playing on a team where you've all got the same goal. You're wanting that MLS deal. So I would, spoke to a lot of the guys last year. I take it you were just really all pushing each other on. Everyone always seemed delighted for guys like yourself and Ali that got the call-ups to the first team as well.
Yeah, I think it was a really close group. A lot of guys who have their ambitions set pretty high, who demand a lot from themselves. And I think going in every day, we kind of demanded a lot of each other. Everyone wanted to work afterwards. The forwards were always working on finishing. Center backs were always working outside backs. So I think having, that youth and a lot of guys who not only have their eyes set, but also see that there is a pathway. I know Chris Lee got called up, Basco Fry was on the bench, Ali, me, Easton. So, there are chances and opportunities. And I think having that along with an ambitious group, every day it was a high level we were pushing, and guys were constantly training with the first team, coming back down. First team guys were playing games with us. So, yeah, I mean, it was really a good group.
When you look back then at the player that you are now to the player that you were coming out of the draft, How do you feel your game's kind of grown in this past year?
Yeah, I think, when people ask me that, I feel like it's an adjustment definitely from the college game. The college game, you have a little bit more leeway. Everyone's usually the best player on the field. And for me, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is how to value the ball, how to work within a system. And I think my hold-up play has gotten better, movements off the ball, because, going up to the next level, everything has to be sharper. Your movements have to be sharper. You have to be thinking, 2-3 steps ahead instead of just one. You have to value the ball. You have to work not only physically, but mentally so much harder. So I think just in the past year, all those things have, stepped up a bit, as well as the obvious things for strikers like scoring goals, gaining good position, stuff like that.
What about off the pitch? Because, obviously you were used to being away from home, but with the time at college, even your summers, you're playing in PDL and travelling about there. But it's obviously a big adjustment. You come into a different country. As similar as Canada and America are in many ways, there's also a lot of differences with the two countries as well. How do you think you've grown as a person off the field in the last year?
Yeah, I think it is a big adjustment, not only being in a different place, but also lifestyle-wise. Usually in college, everyone's your exact same age. You're going to class together. You're doing everything together. And then stepping up, now you're more or less alone. And to be a successful pro, it almost has to be a pretty boring lifestyle, doing all the right things, staying a little bit longer at the facility. And even being in the same facility, I think it kind of helps seeing a lot of the first team guys, how seriously they take their diet, how seriously they take their prehab before training, their prehab after training, kind of extending your day even longer. And then when you're off the field, just doing the right things, getting the right rest. I think that's something I didn't really put as much weight on in college. And I think moving up to the next level, I think that was a big shock. And then obviously moving to a new place, Vancouver, far from home. I only saw my family once. Having my girlfriend out did help. Able to do a lot of things, see places, explore the city. But yeah, honestly, I think it was a big jump in just lifestyle in general off the field.
Yeah, because I imagine as well, like growing up in Kansas as well, you're like stuck right in the middle of the country, whereas now you're like in a kind of coastal community and you've got everything like that. And I mean, it's a great city to come to because you've got everything round about. If you want mountain life, if you want country life, if you want beach life. How have you found Vancouver? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest differences was how much easier it is to get around with public transport. I love public transport. I'm always taking the train into the city, the buses. It's actually quite nice to be able to get everywhere without a car. I was able to do, I think, 2 or 3 hikes, which were really nice. Just on, we had a weekend or 2 off, so that, and then going to the beach in the summertime. Really, I'm an outdoors person, so it kind of falls into me pretty well. But yeah, no, the city, I can't complain. It's honestly a lot cleaner than a lot of places I've been, and very, very safe. Coming from the States, I think that was one thing that kind of a little bit of a difference, just the safety and being able to walk around and do stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get back to the football chat. So August 6th, 2022, I'm sure that's a day that's etched in your memory for the rest of your life. When you got, we talked a little bit with you after the game, but like when you got that call up and you knew that you were on the bench, I mean, when you went to bed the night before, your dream is, I'm going to come on, I'm going to score a goal. But talk us through just that experience, those 8+ minutes that you had, the goal that you got.
Yeah. I was trying not to overthink it. Felt comfortable because I had been with the team. I am familiar with a lot of the guys. They were telling me, look, like you're going to get it, just because of the way the injuries and people in and out of the roster. They're like, there's a good chance you get on. And so in my head, I was just trying to keep it simple. Obviously, I'm going to go out, work as hard as I can for however long I'm out there, and do what was needed. And then one of my close buddies told me, hey, you just want to get a touch on the ball, complete a pass, and then work as hard as you can, right? And I remember it was like 5 minutes in, and I still hadn't touched the ball. And it ran through my head, and I was like, I got to get around the ball. I got to get on, like win a duel, win something. And then all of a sudden the ball dropped at my feet. And I guess the rest was history from there. So I wasn't too nervous, more so excited, happy for the opportunity. And I don't know. I can't really remember much what was going through my head after that.
Yeah.
I don't know. As the game went on, I was just hoping I'd get on. So
yeah, that's true. So I mean, obviously at that point, I'd watched you all season in WFC2. We'd seen you then, so I think everyone had high hopes for you. But what were the conversations like with the club? Were you expecting to get this MLS contract at the end of the season? Was it a bit of a surprise to you, or had the discussions been, look, if you show yourself and you have shown yourself, this is the reward that you're going to get at the end of the year?
I do think that, the year was for me to earn a contract. That's, coming into it, that was my goal. And that was, my option was an MLS contract. So, going through the year, it wasn't as much pressure on me, but, I think I had in my head that the entire time I was working to earn a place on the first team. And I think as the season went on and I got comfortable, I was able to show, I think, the value I could add. And after our season ended, because it ended a little bit sooner than the first teams, about 5 weeks, a number of guys stayed and continued to train, and then ended up training. There was an international break, so there was a couple inter squads, a lot of joint training, stuff like that. And I think, again, throughout there, I think I showed to them that, the value I could add, and that I've made great improvements, and was willing to take feedback and had the right mindset. And on top of that, grew into, I think, earning a role onto the team.
So if we look at it, that achievement's being unlocked now. So you're now into the next stage of your career, which is you're a bona fide MLS player. You've got that deal. What are you hoping for? I mean, you obviously don't have to share your most personal hopes and goals for the season with me, but what are you hoping for this year? What kind of conversations have you had with Vanni for what he's expecting from you that you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I think the expectation is that, as of now, I'm playing with one forward in the system we have. I'm not the DP forward. I'm not the top forward guy. I'm a supporting guy in this role. And so for me, I want to help however I can. And I think in my role, it's going to be coming off the bench, perhaps providing minutes in alternative competition. Since we have so many games this year, I think there will be opportunities. And I think, again, another year of growth, another year of working on my strengths, working on my weaknesses, being fit, being ready to contribute, pushing, whether it's Brian or anyone else in front of me. Obviously I'm trying to win and show that, my role can expand, that I can be the player that they want them to be, and show that I can add even more value, right? Score goals, win the certain spot, things like that. But for now, it's, in my opinion, stay fit, stay healthy, continue to grow. And because of so many competitions, I feel that there will be opportunities for rotation. And in the minutes I get, continue to show the value I can add.
Absolutely. And I think that's the great thing. And also the depth at striker, it's not huge. Because, right now we've got Brian as the main guy, and there's rumours someone else might be coming in as well. So, you've always got that shot. You've always got a competition. And also, in your role, if you're scoring goals, you're going to get minutes, because every team wants a goal scorer. You've always scored them everywhere you've been. Last thing to ask you, what do you feel you maybe need to work on most now that you've gone up this other level?
Yeah, I think that, there's always things to be adding to your game. And as you said, everyone needs goals. So I think, continue to watch film, see where, the movements, the just getting better at one-touch finishing, getting better in the air, competing, holding balls up, and, really in this system, doing what you need to do, being a pressing forward, being somebody that can, hold balls up, but also get into the channel. And I think, for me, I think that's the biggest part, continuing to hold balls up and then being a finisher, because that's goals is what you get paid for. Goals is why a forward's up there. So, in addition to continuing to do all the dirty work that Vanni wants us to do up top, getting in good spots and finishing chances.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you all the very best for the season to come. Thank you so much, Simon. Simon Becher there, good luck to him. Certainly got a chance to get a lot of minutes this year with all the games that's coming up. And as we said, who knows, with Brian White's little niggling injuries here and there, you've just got to take that opportunity when it comes. And if you can get the goals along the way, I mean, all the better. So wish him all the best and find a lot out about him there. But of course, we have got one burning question still to find out. Does Simon Becher fancy a chocolate digestive? If you're sitting at home and you want to have a hot beverage, do you go for a tea, a coffee, hot chocolate?
I go for a coffee.
What's your kind of coffee of choice then? Just a plain coffee, a cappuccino, latte?
An iced latte, an iced vanilla latte with oat milk to be completely, yeah. That's my go-to.
Do you have a sweet tooth then? Do you like to have a kind of sweet treat with your coffee?
No, usually just a coffee, but my girlfriend likes croissants, so usually I have a bite of a croissant too.
Yeah, one of the most unhealthy things you could have picked.
I know. That's why I just have a bite.
That's fine. That's good. You're allowed that.
Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive, even though it sounds suggestive? Anyone fancy a chocolate digestive?
I don't know what it is, Zach. These young footballers that are just so healthy and doesn't even have a full croissant, just a bite of a croissant. Where is the hot chocolate guzzling, dairy milk munching footballers of old?
Well, you can understand the sweets, right? You can understand to be a healthy footballer.
Look at me.
Yeah. No, but I remember hanging out with different players, but I remember especially Gersh. I swear all he ever ate was like boneless, skinless chicken breasts and like salad and like whatever.
It's so funny though, because on the East Fife show that I do, we started this segment as well. The answers are so different with players over here on their healthy diets, and then you ask the guys there, and it's like, oh yeah, I wolfed down a whole bar of chocolate, and it's like 5 biscuits at a time and stuff. But yeah, that's why Canada's on the rise and Scotland is not. But anyway, we've got another interview to come in the final part of this show, as well as a little bit more chat, and we'll be back with that after this.
Hi, I'm Brian White, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Out of bed at 8 a.m. Out my head by 10:30. Out with mates and dates and friends. That's what I do at weekends. I can't talk and I can't walk, but I know where I'm going to go. I'm going to watch my money go at the Locarno. No, when my feet go through the door, I know what my right arm is for. Buy a drink and pull a chair up to the edge of the dance floor. Bouncers bouncing through the night. flashing lights, moving legs in footless tights. I go out on Friday night and I come home on Saturday morning. I go out on Friday night and I come home on Saturday morning. I like to venture into town. I like to get a few drinks down. The floor gets packed, the bar gets full. I don't like life when things get dull. The hen party have saved the night and freed themselves from drunken stags, having fun and dancing in a circle round their leather bags. I go out on Friday night and I come home on Saturday morning. I go out on Friday night and I come home on Saturday morning.
Welcome back to the final part of this episode of the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's another song from Terry Hall, it's another song from the Specials, and it's the B-side to their 1981 single Ghost Town that we kicked off part 2 with. This is a bit of a lesser known Special song, but it's one of my favourites. Friday night, Saturday morning, about a typical mundane night out in Coventry, written by Terry Hall. Most of the Special songs were written by Jerry Dammers. This was one that he wrote. I was trying to, I tried to like cut these songs down, which I was saying to Caitlin, when we started doing this, we were maybe playing 20 seconds, then 40 seconds, and I went up to a minute. Now I'm playing like 90 seconds of the songs because I'm just enjoying them so much. No one else is, but I am. I tried to get this verse in, but I couldn't because of what was around it to make it sound good. But I wanted to get this verse in, but 2 o'clock has come again. It's time to leave this paradise. I hope the chip shop isn't closed because the pies are really nice. I'll eat it in the taxi queue, standing in someone else's spew. Wish I had lipstick on my shirt instead of piss stains on my shoes. Quality verse. Anyway, it got me thinking about all my Friday nights and Saturday mornings, because I don't know what it was like here, but like when I was younger, Friday night was the night that you went out with your mates, and Saturday night was when you went out with your partner. So me and my friends went to a lot of concerts on Fridays in Edinburgh and Glasgow. We went to a lot of indie nights and stuff like that as well. And then I was just thinking, oh, how my life has changed. Because the lyrics of the song is, I go out on Friday night, I come home on Saturday morning, which I still do, as in this weekend, except it was to Newton Athletic Park to take in a VMSL game. So slightly different, but it just got me thinking of all the concerts and the clubs and stuff that I went to, all the indie stuff, and as was a film that I watched this week that you might be very interested in, Creation Stories.
Okay, tell me more.
You seen it?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, you're always banging on about Creation Stories. It's like, I would have thought you'd have seen this one. It's the biopic of Creation Records' Alan McGee.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't got that.
It's
one.
on telly. It's really good. It's about his early time and being in bands himself, putting on clubs, then finding Oasis, and yeah, it's a good film. So recommend that if you've got.
What did he find in the Oasis?
A lot of money and drugs, and fame and fortune.
I saw a headline that one of those brothers said they might be willing to do a reunion one day.
Oh, Liam's always willing to do a reunion. It's Noel that's not.
So maybe it was him. I thought
Liam is. I might have told the story in the show before, but just before Oasis got huge, they'd released their first single, Supersonic, and there was a lot of buzz about it. And they were playing a gig in Edinburgh. My friend Alan's band, Supernova, were the support. And then Creation Records said, no, we need one of our acts in instead of you guys. So they never got to support. And we had free tickets and we were on the guest list. And because they got pulled, we didn't go. And then I could have seen Oasis before they were anything. And I really regret that. That's what I get for standing up for friends. Just friends, they're not worth it. That's what I've learned from life. Anyway, back to football. No one wants to hear about my midlife crisis. Well, three-quarter life crisis, I guess, at this stage. But anyway, we heard In the last part, from 2022 draft pick Simon Becher, we heard from one of this year's draft picks, Levonte Johnson, 2 shows ago. Now let's talk about the man that the Whitecaps paid Houston $125,000 in 2023 GAM, $100,000 in 2024 GAM, to move up from 13th to 5th in this year's Super Draft, and that is 23-year-old midfielder Jean-Claude Ngando. As I tweeted out, the headline should be Jean-Claude to Van, damn. Still think that's the best headline I've ever come up with. Yes, Ngando, born in Cameroon, moved to France with his family when he was 7, played in France with Paris FC 2 and Amiens 2 before heading to college with UNC Greensboro, scored 9 goals, 22 assists and 37 appearances for the Spartans across 2 seasons, was the 2021 South Conference Rookie of the Year, the 2022 Player of the Year in the South Conference, and there's high hopes for the attacking midfielder. Vanni said at the time that after the draft that he feels he's MLS ready, he can go into the squad right away. We'll chat about him in a sec, but I got a chance to sit down with JC this week when he was over in Spain. Let's hear from him just now. First of all, JC, it's been about a month since the draft. Talk to me about that day. How special was that day for you, being back in France with your family, knowing that the Whitecaps traded up to get you? How special was that day for you?
The draft day was really special, especially for me because I wasn't expecting to be in this position. I wasn't expecting something from soccer anymore. So the fact that I had the chance to just participate in the draft, I have the chance to be one of the guys we can be picked or not get picked. It was also an option. It was a special day because it was more I wasn't expecting to be here, so I just want to enjoy. It was just for a feeling enjoying moment. I was enjoying the moment.
Had anyone from the Whitecaps spoken to you before the draft to let you know that they were even interested in you?
Yes, during the combine, I have a discussion with Rico and 2 of the scouts of the Whitecaps during the combine, and they asked me a question about myself, where I come from, my life and everything. And the discussion went well, actually. But I didn't know, I know they have the 13 picks, and I knew from my performances to the combine, I might get picked higher. So I wasn't expecting to end up here because they had the 13 picks, because I thought I would get picked higher than 13. But the fact that they tried the pick for me showed me they're really interesting.
So you're in Vancouver now, or you will be in Vancouver. Obviously, you're in Spain just now, but you're coming to Vancouver. You're coming to Canada. Are you excited by this new adventure? How does your family feel about you coming to play in Canada?
I was already far because I was in US. So for them, me being father is not even a change anymore because I was already far being in US. And in my perspective, I'm really happy about everywhere I go, I feel it's on me to make this place home. So it's on me to make this place special. So it might be hard at the beginning, but it's on me to figure out the thing to make everything be the way I want the thing to be. So I'm ready and I'm happy about.
So you've been into the training camp this week or so over there in Spain in Marbella. How do you feel you fitted in so far? How have you found the pace of everything compared to what you used to at college? Obviously, you're used to the pro game as well from your time in France, but how have you settled in so far?
I feel good. I haven't practiced with the team that much. I have I had one practice with actually the whole team, but in my standpoint, I feel good. I feel confident about the fact that I'm here for a reason. If they pick me, it's because they feel I can bring something new, and I'm also here for learn everything the coaching staff have to teach me. My teammates have to teach me. I'm here for take everything they have from me and also like bring the thing out before and see how the thing will go. And also from the pace, like you say, I was like, I get used to when I was in France, so I never really like lose it. Like the pace and the way people play, I get used to, so it's not like a new thing for me. I'm good with that.
If we go way back then, so you were born in Cameroon and then you moved to France with your family when you were 7. Do you have a lot of recollections of that time, like how you felt when you first moved from Africa to Europe? How was that for you?
It was cool. Like my first feeling was, France is cool, because when I left Cameroon, it was in September 2007, and in France it's like the cold time. It's starting to get like the cold time. So I wasn't expecting like the place to be that cold because I didn't know it was my first time. Like it was actually my first stop about France. This place is cold. But beside that, I was like enjoying because I was and seeing my father. I had a chance to see my father since a while, so being able to go to France and be with my father was a nice thing.
Yeah, I've only been to Paris twice, and both times has been at New Year, so it's been very cold. So I know what you're meaning. So I mean, were you always interested in football? Did you play football in Cameroon from an early age?
I did, but it was more like on the street, like no rules, no nothing. It wasn't like a structure soccer. It was just with friends. You put something on the street and you play and when the car come, you move everything. When the car like left, you put the cage back, and it wasn't like a structure soccer. It was just like a friend thing.
So then, when you came over then to Paris, how did you then get involved? Were you playing locally? Did someone come and see you?
Like when you're a kid, like you can actually join the team like everywhere because that's a kid thing. So you just here for learn. So like I just joined the team like close to my home, and I was just playing for fun and learning the game more than the thing I knew before. It was more about that than just
So not got too much longer with you, so I'll just ask you a couple more things. So from being there in France and playing with Paris FC, playing with Amiens, what then made you decide to come over to the US and to go to college?
It's funny because like I came to US because I wanted to quit soccer. Like no, it's not as good as in Europe. Like it was my thought before I came to US. So for me, because I wanted to see a new thing. Like I wasn't happy about like playing the game anymore. Like I thought for me it was over. Like I wasn't dreaming anymore about being a professional soccer player. So I wanted to do something with my life. I knew like if it was soccer or it wasn't soccer, I would do something with my life. And I thought school would be the good option for me. So I decided to start the process about going to USA, and I had the chance to end up to Greensboro. And now I'm here. But I first came to US because soccer wasn't my first interest.
So it was really to get the education and the qualification. What were you studying at Greensboro?
Psychology.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything's worked out great. I take it you can still continue your studies as well whilst...
Actually keep going. I do school online. I'm not doing school this semester because of all the thing, like the moving thing. But like from the fall semester, I will continue my school online.
So obviously it's your first season now coming into Major League Soccer. What are you hoping for this season? You've obviously had a little bit of time in the US, so you've had a chance to see the league. What are you expecting from yourself? What are you expecting from the Whitecaps for this year?
First, about the team, I really expect the team, like I really expect us as a team to be really good and to have the chance to compete and make the playoff. Like I came here, like obviously soccer is like a really like team sport, but like you have an individual player too. But like for me, my focus is more like a team thing. I actually want to just like have the chance to bring the thing I can bring to help the team to achieve what they wanted to achieve and the task the coach have us want to achieve. So my expectation this year is more like as a young player, I expect to have like playing time, doing good with my playing time, and keep working on the gym, keep working on the field, the training. And every time the coach call me to step on the field, every time the coach need me, help the team.
What kind of player are you? What can the Whitecaps fans expect to see from you on the pitch?
I'm really technical player. I'm a physical player too. I can say I'm fast. Like I'm really good with the ball and out of the ball. Like I have energy. I never like the way I describe myself is more like I can do everything the coach want me to do. Like if the coach want me to play somewhere, I will be there and play. But like I have my own quality, but it doesn't matter if they don't fit what the coach wants. So I'm ready to do what the coach want me to do, and I will do the thing coach wants the best I can.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your time today, JC. I'll let you get off to dinner now, and hopefully we'll see you in Vancouver soon. Get all these visas sorted out, get you here in Vancouver, see you in a Whitecaps jersey. Get used to the rain.
Thank you.
JC Ngando there, just chatting about his journey, his life, his footballing career. And he won't be here in Vancouver for a little bit yet. He did fly in briefly to get his medical done and then was with the team in Spain, but they're still trying to get the visa sorted. And I know that's become a bit of a running joke that the Whitecaps can't get visas done. And it's like, yeah, we make jokes about it, but I mean, it's frustrating for them. And it's not that they're not trying. It's like trying to deal with, if anyone's dealt with Canadian immigration recently, which in my work I deal with a lot, they are slow beyond belief just now with huge backlogs. And the complication is coming because Ngando is from Cameroon, so it's a different kind of visa process as well.
I was going to ask you, is it the country of Cameroon? Is it the continent of Africa? I
think when it is African countries, it's a slightly different visa thing. It's not as fast tracked as a guy from Europe or a guy from South America like Laborda. I would have thought or hoped the fact that he'd been in Carolina for 2 years would have helped, but it's maybe not been enough because a lot of these other guys have been here maybe 3 or 4 years, and that's what's kind of helped him. But yeah,
it is as much as it's become almost like a meme for them. It is really, really unfortunate, and I mean, we all assume that there's nothing more that they can do, and it's hard not to feel bad for them.
Yeah, and like Ngando's just keen to get started, and it was interesting that he said there that when he was in France, he thought, no, I've tried this. I want to get my education. He got a scholarship to Greensboro, but he went there with a view of obviously playing football there, but to get his degree, to get his qualification, his psychology degree, and he wasn't thinking of a pro career, and now he's got the chance to do it in the Whitecaps, and he looks an exciting talent. He seems a really nice lad as well.
Yeah.
Final bit of Whitecaps news. The Leagues Cup draw has been made. I'm not sure how much of a draw you can call it when it was leaked the day before and nobody actually saw the draw get made. But anyway, officially the draw is here. And the Whitecaps have been drawn in Western Group 3, catchy, along with old foes LA Galaxy, and it's going to be a first meeting with Mexican side Leon, who are the defending League Cup champs. They beat Seattle 3-2 in Vegas in 2021. Let's hear a little bit from Vanni, just talking about that draw and the tournament ahead. Yeah, I know it's a long way away, but the Leagues Cup draw was made this week, and you've got the Galaxy, you've got Leon, a team you're very familiar with, a team that you'd like to be, I'm sure, familiar with playing on a regular basis in competitions. What did you make of that draw? It seems a group that you could certainly have a very good chance of going through from.
Yeah, we're very excited. You know, Leon, they're actually the League Cup's reigning champions, because they won the last one in 2021 against Seattle. The Galaxy are one of our rival, and to be honest, the Galaxy are probably the most famous MLS team in the world. So that's I'm really excited. I know that it's going to be in July, August, but it's great to have this kind of competition, and I hope that we'll make a good run in that competition too. We don't want to play 2 games; we want to play 3, 4, 5, maybe 7 games.
Vanni Sartini there, just chatting about the Leagues Cup. It's a winnable group, Zach, but also the top 2 go through to the knockout round. So, I mean, good hopes for the Caps. They just have to win one of those games, or even a pair of draws might be enough to get them through. And I know going down to LA can be a bit tough at times, but we'll get more into it. But it's not the worst draw in the world for them.
I think, yeah, it's not the worst. That's
Plus,
true.
if they get through, they would have a home game, I think, in the knockouts.
Yeah. Well, this gives you a CONCACAF Champions League berth, right? That's
Yeah,
the
if you
big
finish
carrot.
top 3.
Right. So again, going back to the conversation you, Steve, and I had a number of weeks ago, and obviously this doesn't start till a little bit down the road. But in terms of that priority of the competitions for the Whitecaps, I still think if you want to qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League again, you want to do it by winning the Voyageurs Cup again, because I think that's...
Yeah, well, I said in last week's show the draw, or when it was going to start, the date I was told it's actually starting a week later now. It's the week beginning the 18th, and the draw is coming up next week, I think, actually. The draw will be made, or next weekend. So, I mean, there's a good chance they could have another all-CPL stroke League 1 BC road to the final, so that could be their best chance again for the Champions League.
Yeah, but I think so. Depending on how that competition goes, might even they want to put in a good performance, I guess, in this. But like if they, for the first time ever went back to back in the Voyageurs Cup, do they what's the prize purse also for the? Do we know? Is it $1 million?
I don't know, actually. I mean, there's a lot about the Leagues Cup that's not been announced yet.
Right. So how much do you? I mean, it might depend on where they're at on the table as well, I guess, or whatever.
Hey, just go and win everything. That'll just solve everything. We qualify 8 times for the Champions League by having a great.
No, but that's the thing, right? Like, go win everything. Yeah, I guess there's the prestige of actually winning something, or winning the Leagues Cup, which I personally don't really rate. But if their potential qualification for the playoffs is, hanging in the balance still, or or they're really behind the 8 ball in that, like, does that shape what they do, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But I think it's nice for them, having played, Tigres and stuff, to now get someone different from Mexico. Getting Leon will be exciting.
Yeah, I hope to head down to that as well if I can make things work with League One commentary and stuff as well. Should be a lot of fun. But that is it for the football chat. It's not it for the show, because we have to finish with this week's wavelength. And I thought, I've picked this song. I've had this for a while. I've been going to play it. But since we did our extra podcast talking about all the soccer parent drama with the Berhalters and Reina, I thought this is the apt time to do it. It's from a Detroit rapper called Fat Father. No offense, Zach. I was going to do that with Steve as well, but he's not here. So obviously it's a Detroit rapper, so this is marked explicit lyrics, which is why this podcast is marked explicit as well. So if you don't like hearing that, you can turn off now. So I've saved it to the end. It's from.
And this song's called Claudio Reina?
Very close. It's from 2021, an album with the same name. This is Fat Father, Soccer Dad.
Yeah. Fat Father. Foul mouth. Middle finger music. Yo. I'm not your ordinary soccer dad. I can take the grass from a proper bag, roll it in a zag, take a proper drag, get that toe a tag if he poppin' trash. Don't put the pressure on the gas just to watch it crash. I deliver fast like Jimmy John's demigod status. Y'all little niggas Terry on, never been savage. Acting, ain't never been trapping, ain't never seen action, ain't never been chosen to function as team captain. I'm something supreme packed in this humble extreme package. You mumble, I make ways for your uncle to stream classics. Bragging, I do it differently than other guys. Entertainer, my retainer just went up a size. Foul got the danger, every banger feel like supper time. Say you want the soup, but you ain't worthy of a cup of mine. Bars, I'm asleep when I come up with mine. Middle finger, fuck it, rhyme. I'm not the ordinary soccer dad. Soccer dad. You heckle mine, I'll soccer dad. Don't come at me with bullshit, it's not a lot to add. No. Just know that town and country got a spot for mad. Yes. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. I want it with a real life soccer dad. Soccer dad. All big and bad, big and I'll drop a dad. Cause he was fucking with a certified soccer dad. To the umpires and referees, if that call's incorrect, you gotta capture these. Rap won't be a factor when your pastor at your house in jeans, cause he got the news while he was bowling and just had to leave. Pass the weed, it's during school hours, class to be out in 2 hours, time managing. Fuck what you brand shit. If you ain't a shooter, you a pussy, not a tutor. Shout out to my nigga Super, we fluent with speaking Ruger. Ex-fam shit, we don't give a damn about who you ran with. Sitting up top, just how we planned it. Go ahead and pick that lock and see the hearse in the lot become transit. Soccer dads hop out of vans and run rapid. We are not the ones to be playing with. Heard you be saying shit, well I dare you to say it now, so I can lean back and punch you in your motherfucking mouth. I'm not the ordinary soccer dad. Soccer dad. You heckle mine, I'll soccer dad. Soccer Don't come at me with bullshit, it's not a lot to add. No. Just know that town and country got a spot for mad. Yes. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. Soccer dad. I want it with a real life soccer dad. Soccer dad. All big and bad, big and I'll drop a dad. Cause he was fucking with a certified soccer dad.
Fat Father there, Soccer Dad. Really like that. Great little rap song. I've got a couple of other songs about soccer mums and soccer dads. I might play that over the next couple of weeks, or I might save it to the Berhalter Arena drama plays out a little bit more. But that is it for this week's show. Just before we go though, Zach, let folk know where they can find you online. Any final thoughts? Anything that you've learned this week?
You can find me on Twitter at ZacharyAM. And yeah, I guess I just want to give a shout out to former Whitecaps captain Adrian Kahn.
Oh yes,
it was very good to sit down and break bread and catch up because I haven't seen him in so long. He was out visiting the province recently, last week or so, and it was just nice to catch up and reminisce and hear about what's going on in his life more recently and all that kind of stuff. And it was good. Reminds me, I have a question for you when we're done. When we're done, I have a question for you. Don't let me forget.
I was just going to go, can he kick it? Yes, he can. I've actually got a question for you, which we'll have in the show as my final thought. So you mentioned before we were recording today, you were just coming back from a Lego sort. Now, in my head, you're all sitting there with all these different coloured bricks and shapes, putting them into different buckets. Is that what it is?
No, not sort of. Yes and no.
Because that just sounded hell.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I get to do it with my son and watch the Bundesliga.
That's fine then.
So it is. It was sorting a whole bunch of pieces out to different, putting them into piles for different people.
We need to get together and build a BC place out of Lego, or Vancouver FC Stadium out of Lego.
That's what I'm waiting to do.
Which I believe is also possibly what they are building it out of. But I am Michael McCall. We'll be back soon. You can follow our stuff AFTN Canada, AFTN.ca. We're wanting to wrap up the written coverage as well. If you fancy writing about anything about BC soccer, if you want to cover Vancouver FC, if you want to do some regular Whitecaps stuff, if you maybe have some interest in the podcast as well, get in touch with me at aftncanada@hotmail.com, AFTN Canada on Twitter. Check out our YouTube channel, AFTN Canada on YouTube. And yeah, we've got our VMSL videos up. There's one going to be going up from this weekend. BB5 United chasing down Coquitlam Mitford in a very entertaining game with West Van FC. Missed the third goal because I was talking to the dad of the guy that scored the third goal. How ironic is that?
So you made the dad miss it?
I think possibly. None of us knew it was his son that had scored it because we were both like, oh, who got that? And it was Connor McMillan, TSS Rover legend. But we will be back soon with another show. Until then, thanks for listening. Take care and mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers, away from the numbers.
EF